We are very pleased to have Peter as our guest speaker today, so please give him a warm and satisfying welcome.
I came up with something called the Tough Call for 2012 because everybody always asks me, Peter, what are the things I have to do in business? And it's not because I'm that smart, it's because I've been in so many different businesses and so many different companies that literally there are something that I call best practices. And best practices are these things that companies just do time and time and time again. They just repeatedly do those. So you'll hear me referring to something called best practices quite often. So I am the CEO of Sales Oxygen Property Group, and I just started a new organization called Success Oxygen. And since that mic isn't successful, I'm going to switch microphones here and just stand here at the podium. I'm also the moderator of something called the President's Roundtable. The President's Roundtable is something that the BDC has put together, the Business Development Bank of Canada. And what it does is it takes entrepreneurs and it puts them in a room together. You're going to hear a little bit more about that in my presentation. It's a peer group, okay? And I'll share a little bit about my experience. From 1989 to 1991, I was involved in the music industry. From 1992 to present in the real estate ownership and rental business. In 1993 to 1999 in the technology industry. From 1999 to 2006, Sales Oxygen, and that's where you heard, literally did travel the globe to Chennai, India, Mumbai, India, Singapore, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, all parts of English-speaking Europe, and worked and commuted for those 7 years to places like New York City, London, England, Los Angeles, Chicago, and did it all from Winnipeg. And I used to just really promote the value of Winnipeg and living and breathing here in Winnipeg to my clients from around the globe. 2007, I stopped that, and I started focusing on staying home and being here in Manitoba. So if you want further information about any of our organizations and what they do, there's lots of great information. We're just starting some free podcasts on iTunes at Sales Oxygen. You can check it out at salesoxygen.com. You can also go to Success Oxygen. I'll tell you more a little bit about that in a moment. Podcast on iTunes and Oxygen Property Group. Basically, Sales Oxygen is an organization that I started in 1999 to breathe life into corporation sales. And this is where I learned all of these different best practices. And Success Oxygen is a free program that I'm actually launching next week. I'll talk a little bit about it in my presentation. And it's free for anybody who wants to learn or implement more best practices for their own personal lives. Whether it's their employees' lives, their own lives, implementing goal setting, what to do, overcoming adversity, that sort of thing. So it's Wednesday starting January 25th. Success Oxygen is live and always free. Starts at noon. Bring your lunch. We're at the Manitoba Hellenic Cultural Center. And Sales Oxygen Live is at 1:30 for those people that are interested in participating in those groups. And I also started another free group that's at 3:30 on Wednesdays called I Love Marketing. I don't know if anybody's heard of I Love Marketing before. Has anybody heard of I Love Marketing? Show of hands. Okay. So I Love Marketing is an awesome, awesome, awesome thing and a best practice for everybody here in the room to do. So if you have a recording device, there's a free podcast every week. Dean Jackson puts it out, and Joe Polish. It's called I Love Marketing. Download it, listen to it. You have to listen to the podcast in order to be a member of this group, and it's absolutely free, and it's some of the best marketing ideas on the planet in the world. So, here we go. The format for today is going to focus on a top 12 for 2012, and it's going to start with 4 key points. My definition of what the point is and how it works, my personal experience with this particular point, so why I'm recommending it for everybody, best practices that you can implement, and next steps that you need to take. Okay, so number 1 is peer groups. So my number 1 thing for 2012, and my challenge to each and every one of you, is join a peer group. So by a show of hands, who owns a business here? Okay, a lot of business owners here. Okay, you can start a peer group today. Okay, who's an accountant or works in an accounting role in a corporation? Show of hands. Awesome. Okay, great. Who's in the finance industry, bank manager or in the banking world or credit union? Show of hands. Okay, awesome. So there's enough people in this room today to start a peer group. Is anyone involved in a peer group? Great. So a peer group to me is obtaining perspective outside of your own individual viewpoints. And members have similar interests, backgrounds, qualification, and bonded by the same presence of sameness. So a good peer group would be, if you're a business owner who does about $500,000 to $1 million in sales, it'd be awesome to join another peer group with other business owners who have $500,000 to $1 million in sales. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because you're going through the same problems. You're thinking about, do I grow? Do I hire more employees? How do I get capital? How do I get financing? You know, the 2 people that I have that are working for me are a pain in the butt. Okay? All of these things are experienced by other people. So essentially, so my personal experience is something that I've taken from the Bible, which is from Ecclesiastes, which is what has been will be again, what has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Okay? So there's nothing that you've gone through in business that can't be shared or communicated within a peer group. Okay? The benefit of not feeling alone and getting the answers, ideas you need to solve problems and get the end result you need in the shortest period of time possible. Okay? So this is, there's certain aspects of a peer group that you need to have happen. Okay? Best practices are, you need non-competing industries or business people in there. Okay? You do not want to be in a peer group with your competitor. Okay? If you are in the fashion industry, you don't necessarily want to be in another peer group with someone who's in the fashion industry. Okay? Why? Because you want to share confidentiality. You want to make sure that no information leaves that room ever. Okay? You're not to talk about it after the meeting. It's not your information to share. What's said in the room stays in the room. It's experience sharing. It's professionally moderated and facilitated. So you'll appoint a volunteer moderator facilitator. Again, this doesn't matter if you're an accountant. It doesn't matter if you're a business owner. It doesn't matter if you're in retail. Become a part of a peer group and you'll be amazed what will happen and the transformation that will happen in your life. Okay, so for next steps on peer groups and for more information, I recommend purchasing a book. It's called Forum by my very good friend Mohammed Fathlabad. It's available at Amazon.com. The tip I'll give you is read the last chapter first. It tells you everything you need to do to start and learn how to be part of a forum group. Or you could join an association or a group that's already in existence. You can join the BDC President's Roundtable, the Entrepreneurs Organization, the Entrepreneurs Organization Accelerator Group, a Sales Oxygen Meetup Group, and experience it for yourself. But I highly recommend peer groups as my number one topic for the year. Any questions on peer groups? Okay. Number 2, networking groups. Okay, networking groups, a lot of times people say, hey, I've been to a networking group. Who's part of a networking group? Or who thinks that, yeah, you are? What's your experience being involved in a networking group?
It's been fantastic. The resources and I guess, wisdom sharing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Networking groups are awesome, okay? And my definition of a networking group is a socioeconomic activity by which groups of like-minded business people recognize, create, or act upon business opportunities. Okay? Some people can call it a leads club, but it's more than that. You become friends with these people. It's generally a weekly meeting or a monthly meeting that you come to. Again, there's non-competing businesses, and it's amazing with the friendships that you develop, the business knowledge you develop, but the business you develop. People want to do business with people with whom not only they like, but with whom they are alike. Okay? So join a peer group, okay? And join a networking group. Okay? So my personal experience with networking groups is they work. You need to focus on peer-to-peer, example, owners, sales teams to sales teams. So here's where peer groups don't work. If there's a bunch of business owners in a peer group and there's non-business owners. There's a bunch of accountants, okay, and a bunch of lawyers. Okay? You need to make sure people are like-minded. Okay? You need to make sure you all have that same background and decision-making authority. You do not want to be in a peer group where some people have decision-making authority and some people don't. Okay? Best practices. Owners and decision-makers get involved first. So if you're an owner of a business and you're not part of a peer group, do not send your staff to be part of a peer group. You first join a peer group Get involved, make it happen, stay involved, figure out what's working, and then send your staff. Lead by example. So the next steps, contact the Winnipeg executives, the Metro Business Club of Winnipeg, BNI, and also talk to Ernie Nairn at the back. He and I have been talking about starting a networking and group here at the Assiniboia Chamber of Commerce. Okay? Point number 3, industry groups. Okay, lots of groups to start the top 12 for 2012. Industry groups. An industry trade association participates in public relations activities such as advertising, education, political donations, lobbying, and publishing, but its main focus is collaboration between companies. My personal experience is the magic really begins when like companies from different cities collaborate and share best practices. So, this is my experience. A lot of people say, I'm part of the Canadian Manufacturers Association. I'm part of the Accounting Association. I'm part of the Bank Association. Don't get anything out of it. Doesn't work. Okay? So of course the main adage is to say, well, what effort are you putting in? Are you sitting on the board? Are you participating consistently? You can't expect to show up once in a while. Okay? You gotta always go. But I'll tell you where I really find the magic happens. If you're an awesome chocolatier like Constance Pop is at the back there, who's Winnipeg's finest chocolatier at the back, world-renowned, does chocolates for the Queen. Should she become part of an industry group? Maybe, but you know where the magic would really happen? If she could collaborate with another chocolatier in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in Boston, Massachusetts. Wow! Now you're talking. Now that's real knowledge, that's real sharing. Now it's in-depth. So you've got your peer group, you've got your networking group, now you've got your industry group. Wow. Okay, when you put those 3 together, magic happens. You are gaining knowledge and insight like never before. So, best practices are seek out similar businesses in your industry that has no chance to be a competitor. Okay? A lot of times people tell me, I don't want to be a part of an industry group. Why? Because my competitors are there. I don't want them to gain any ideas. Or I don't like that guy. He outbid me on the job. Okay? Great. Be part of an industry group, but be part of the international or national aspect of the industry group. Collaborate and learn. That way you'll be able to pick up the phone and say, hey Joan in Chicago, I'm having this problem with the same software that you use and I use. Have you ever experienced this? Oh yeah. Here's what you do. Thanks. Versus spending hours and hours and hours on end trying to solve a problem that somebody solved before. So, join an association in your industry with people like you in non-geographic competing areas is my number 3 point for 2012. Point number 4 is my favorite topic. It's called the sales process. Okay? So stay with me for a moment. Might be a little bit different than what you think. It's an engineering-based, systematic approach to selling a product or service. Okay, let me repeat that. It's an engineering-based, systematic approach to selling a product or service. My personal experience on this, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time here, is I began touring and speaking on sales process in 1999. However, people were most interested on how to close. Okay? People are just starting to get interested now. So in 1999, I would literally travel the world and I would talk about sales process. Does anyone believe they have a sales process here? Okay, one person at the back. So a lot of times I would go into companies and they would say, yeah, we got a sales process. Becky, yeah, grab the sales binder. Okay, and it would have these scripts and little telemarketing stuff and this is what we do and you know, if I could find you the right product at the right price, would you be interested in buying today? Okay. And I would communicate to them, folks, this is not a sales process. This is a sales disaster. Okay? This is old, antiquated selling methodologies. A sales process is literally a chart, a graph, a guide, an engineering-based breakdown that says this is what we do to attract, find, retain, sell, keep, remarket, repeat to our customers. Ongoing, time and time and time again. It's not script-based, it's process-based. Okay? Little tip on a process that that we started to develop here at Sales Oxygen is we focus, part of one aspect of a sales process, and really a good sales process will have anywhere between 50 to 75 items in that process, okay, little steps. One of those steps is sales teams and sales members working by geographic region.